the Confident One, Conscious Podcast. We have a legal powerhouse in the building, distinguished scholar and expert, lawyer Bobby Mkangi. And it's been a great journey. Your service to humanity has been incredible.
I hope so.
And to kids of this nation.
So.
Bobby, the author, you are developing a book about exposing the beast, sexual abuse, about kids. How is that coming along? When do we expect the book to be on the shelves?
That should have come out a long time ago. And I developed it from, because I became, like I was telling you, when I was leaving university, good fortune had it that there was a group of lawyers who were coming up with a program also. Now people who are in practice, they're also seeing the gap in terms of children getting trouble. Yeah, but we don't have sufficient facilities, lawyers, professionals to help children. And children issues were now, and abuse issues were becoming more prominent because before that, the more prominent issue about children was custody in terms of children in families, but in terms of what people could see was street children alone.
Another very thorny issue.
Which was thorny, but people thought it's only children on the streets that have problems. But they didn't know that there are so many children in homes who are suffering from abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, psychological violence. So that's when this movement and studies and we had people like Dr. Felix Onyango from what is known as Upcan Regional Office. They had been talking about it at the University of Nairobi. They started institutions. So by the time I was leaving university, at least this was now becoming
a movement.
Yes. So I was young, and in fact, when I joined the movement,
perfect time.
They started using me. I remember they would tell me, go for this meeting. It's a volunteer team of lawyers.
Yes.
That's how Children's Legal Action Network, where I started working.
And you served in the department, the legal department.
Yes. So Children Legal Action Network, CLAN, was a team of lawyers who got together and to start offering services to children. So they did that, and then some donors thought it was something that was useful. So they said, we can give you some money to set up a secretariat, which will help coordinate activities. And so because when I left university, like I told you, I've mentioned to you before, I made up my mind not to be an advocate in second year.
In second year. A very sound decision.
I said, I don't think this is what I want to be. And so when we left university and people went to do pupillage, I went to Mathare North now.
To the social center.
I volunteered. I said I'll spend my 1 year when people are doing pupillage.
You do social
I'll do my pupillage in Mathare North. Okay. And so that's when I went to work with George full time. I would wake up in the morning and go to Mathare North and work with the kids. And the program really caught on, in terms of donors and, so it became, we got Braeburn School to build a structure. We got Mibisco. They used to give us bread every week.
Wow.
We got, and it brought, guys like Jimmy Gathu had a show called, so he actually got to interview George about his program, Was it called Making It or something? But it was about people. So we that year, I think we did some good work.
Okay.
And then because I got to know of CLAN and I was a law student, so I started, and they welcomed me. And as I told you, they're the ones who said, okay, there's this meeting coming up because you're the student, the young, you go for this meeting. And so I started getting exposure as a volunteer, both at CLAN and at Mathare Junior Center. So when they was finally getting money to set up a secretariat, my first boss, the late Eric Ogwang, asked me to come and join him full time to help him start the secretariat. And I said, wow, this is what I used to dream about. And I said, okay, cool. And then we went and set up CLAN, Children's Legal Action Network.
Very instrumental organization. Did a lot.
We started, and the first thing on our desk was the children's bill, How do we get it enacted? How do we make it better? Because it wasn't perfect. So that's where my work started with children now officially, you see. And then we had training programs because you discover people get things wrong, not because sometimes it's out of a lack of knowledge.
Yeah,
so we started
informed.
programs of training community members, people who work with children, like in hospitals, even just identifying abuse.
Abuse, yeah.
Because you find a doctor will receive a child, treat the child.
Yes.
But the child, they don't ask, why does this child have this?
They don't do a follow-up, yeah.
And follow-up.
They just treat the child.
So even just identifying and detecting abuse and what to do. Doctors who confess they would receive children who have been sexually abused, but they just deal with the medical
aspect. They don't.
So we started programs, training media on how to report and highlight on children issues.
Yes.
Because back then you'd not find a story to do with children.
Neglect. It was absolute neglect.
Nothing
No,
on
nothing.
children rights, and so we worked with all these institutions that were important, training them on the law, training them on issues of abuse, training them. So I did this for a long time.
Yes.
Training children officers, because we had a children's department, but there were government officers who did not know, for instance, the law. So
when it comes to kids.
We started a very nice program with children officers, and we trained children officers in the country. We trained prison officers. We trained probation officers. So this book, Exposing the Beast.
The Beast,
is out of the content that I'd developed, and developed again from even people I'd learned from. Because again, you have to develop content that can be used by the common person, the lay person.
Exactly.
When you're training community members, say in Kibra, in Madare, you are trying to step down the legal knowledge to the ground level, to the community level. So I thought I can do a book like that that helps teach people about rights of children, and then sexual abuse.
Yes.
So the book has content about abuse generally, but sexual a lot, because sexual gets to be very much hidden.
Yes.
It's
a less talked about topic.
And a physically abused child, you'll see the injuries, although they hide. A neglected child, you might see it.
Yeah.
But sexual abuse is very hidden.
You can't tell.
You can't tell. And it happens a lot.
And
within families.
In units that look perfect in the eyes of the society.
And it cuts across, because, some people think abuse in children happens. It's a socioeconomic, like it's in impoverished homes where children are abused. No, you discover
it's not unique to
in the big homes.
Yeah.
Where
with the staircase.
So abuse cuts across, So that's where the book developed. I haven't published it.
So when can we expect it to be on the shelves? I'm pretty sure it's going to be a bestseller.
In fact, it's that one.
Yes.
And then I had
the constitution
making one. Now the big story is that I've mentioned it to you.
Yes.
My house was broken into. I don't know whether in 2015.
You mentioned.
And I lost 2 laptops. And it's my laptops that had the manuscripts.
Wow. Maybe they're listening right now. What can we tell them?
So
we just want the manuscript.
The children books,
the
manuscripts are sort of ready. In fact, I was just about to start editing them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I know I have but it's a back of discs. Is it?
Hard disk.
So I have a hard disk somewhere. So that, in fact, now the problem is whether I can get what do you call a drive now? Because laptops don't have drives anymore. But at least I have that. I think I can convert it. The one that I didn't have any backup, which was the constitution one.
Okay.
So when that happened, I obviously lost morale for a while. But I started rewriting it in 2017, I think. So I have something. I haven't finished it. The Constitution one.
We're confident. We have the book.
Yeah, maybe now you are inspiring me to.
I'm here too.
I want to finalize it. I hope this year.
Yeah.
I want
to do.
And then the beautiful thing is there are also many things that have happened between even now
2017 and 2021.
BBI.
Yes.
We are dealing with hocus pocus law.
Yes.
So I think there's even more content because I wanted to do it like a my experiences, and then like 4 or 5 chapters around the things that have happened, BBI, what it is, and some of the prominent issues around
Around
I think the big issues that have been around
okay.
constitution implementation.
Right.
So hopefully I'll finish that this year.
We're looking forward to it. And maybe the podcast, the Confident One podcast,
but
will be the first one.
Beyond those, I've written many, say, articles.
Journals, yeah. You published a lot.
And commissioned through my work to do documents.
Yes.
Some of them are information, education, and communication documents, reports, and such, which the contract says at the end of the day, Conscious has contracted me, so the content is yours, but I'm the one who wrote it. So I don't have much say about it. But I've developed such, especially one I love, part of my writing, an aspect I love of it is developing documents for, for public use.
Public use.
Like there's one, a few years ago, I did one for Plan International on, again, sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse, yeah.
Helping, it's a stepped down document, what they call simplified versions. So I enjoy doing that because there's more of the fulfillment aspect of it. Like this will help Mwananchi.
Yes.
Say, understand the constitution, understand your right to information, understand your human rights. Because if you give somebody the act, here is a constitution.
They don't read it. Even lawyers. Yeah, it's a task.
So, but a simplified with graphics,
they can read.
I really enjoy doing that because I feel it has an aspect of a community.
Community needs,
infusing something and helping the community understand their rights better. Yeah.
So 2017, it was a very memorable year for you. Yes. Let's talk about fatherhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I finally got the title of father.
Oh, father. Dad.
Father and dad, yeah. But although, father and dad, there's a difference,
Yeah, the difference.
I'll tell you about it.
Yes.
But yeah, that's when I became a dad on June 3rd, 2017 at 2:33 p.m.
It's like happened yesterday. It's so clear in your mind.
It's so clear in my mind, yeah. And yeah, it's still sort of surreal. It's that thing that happens and you think there's a day you'll come and say, I'm a father, and it and then
doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit. I don't think it's ever sung, honestly.
Yeah.
And the times I have conversations with God and I say, hey, God, you have a sense of humor, but you start thinking about many things because, again, even like I was saying, in the journey of life, you discover one thing about man is that we are imperfect. Man as a human being.
We are flawed.
We are flawed. And I say, but God, as this flawed being, how do you give us this responsibility? We can bring out another human being and then
with all our flaws.
You expect me with my flaws to take care of this human being, And then it hits you again like, it's actually God who's doing it, because if it's us human beings, I always feel, how do I say, it's very humbling. It's very, I don't want to say hard in the fact that it's like a heavy load. It's hard in the sense of, it's delicate. You need to really put your mind into it and your life and everything.
How has it changed you? As a person?
A lot. Like I'm saying, you start philosophizing about life. It makes, because he's a human being. You're the one,
that depends on you.
It depends on you.
It looks up to you.
This is the only person in the world who you really are accountable to.
Yes.
If the guy misses a meal, it's you.
It's you.
He has to go to school. He has to be happy. He's the only one who can ask you, why not? Why didn't I get? No one else, you see. So you become more philosophical. You change even in like social life. Because saying, how many concerts have I missed?
So many of them.
I was telling somebody that I went for an event last year, a social event. Things I used to, and everyone was asking me, where did you get lost?
Yeah, I've invited you to a couple of them. You're telling me.
And I told them I took paternity leave. And you have to do that. You see, you
sacrifice.
Yeah, sacrifice. But I don't like using the word sacrifice.
Okay, what's the word you like using?
It's your duty. Sacrifice means it's like and that's the mentality people also have about child bringing and child, how do you sacrifice for your child? Is your child? You're not sacrificing.
It's not sacrifice.
It's your priority. You see, so
something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. So you can't say I didn't go out, sacrifice going out, or I sacrifice a new pair of shoes for my child. No, it's your child. You see, so that's and then, but the other big thing is, like I told you, when I used to work with children, I mean in clan a lot, dealing with children's issues, cases. I remember I would meet people, and especially custody maintenance cases. Men who have been brought, you're not taking by the mothers of children, they're not taking care of their children. Exactly, And by the way, the law back then wasn't supportive.
Of death.
A father could only legally support a child if they were married to the mom.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult for us to deal with deadbeats.
Yes.
We changed the law with the Children Act, but it was still difficult. But Constitution of Kenya 2010.
Which you were a member.
We said parental responsibility is to both parents equal, regardless of whether you're married or not. So long as it can be established, you are the father, you are the mother. That's what we did.
We can do a DNA if there's a bone of contention.
So the courts, they won't go into, we were drunk, she didn't take care of this, I didn't take. No. Are you the father or the mother?
Take responsibility.
Then take responsibility. So that to me was one of the... People talk about devolution and all these other big things. But to me,
the biggest
gain was that we did make substantive changes in how society should protect children,
kids
in Kenya. But I was telling you about me now being a father.
You've been a dad.
And previously taking care of children's issues and not being a father. So I was a father, in the sense of, you take care of children.
You are a father figure.
Exactly. But not taking care of my own child.
Your own kid.
You see, so I remember many people at times would ask me, are you a father? Some men, I would... So
because of the passion you had for kids.
Ngoja skule utazaa wako utaona. But now, niko na wangu, and I can see, for instance, somebody will tell you that because they have neglected their child.
Yes.
Or they beat their child badly. And I have my child, and yes, it's, especially my son is and I like that, is very confident. He'll ask you
questions, engage you.
He'll talk back, and I love that.
And
he's 3 and a half.
That's a good attitude.
Yeah. And so sometimes I'm with him and I tell him something and he'll answer back and then I laugh. And in my mind I just say, Okay. But now that's what I'm saying. That's a society you want to bring up.
Confident kids that
who can ask questions,
who
can reason,
can question the system.
Give them, not the way as we were brought back. You talk back to an adult.
Or they will ask you, did you eat? Are you fed? Do you have clothes? You have no business.
What are you crying about?
Exactly.
Yeah. My experience bring up my child in my space and in my home makes me remember those questions.
Okay.
People. And then, but now I can answer and say, I can identify the challenges you're going through, but I don't understand why I still believe or what you did was wrong. Yes. So now I won't say, hey, now I can understand why that guy hit his kid. No.
Yes, no.
So it gives me now that opportunity to experience it, but also to know, even when we are teaching against child abuse and teaching and telling people you can take care of this. Yes, there are daily life stresses and challenges, but don't bring them out on your child. So when somebody would say, kikuwa kwa hiyo nyumba na mtoto wako ndio utajua.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so you are wrong.
You're wrong.
You could have done something else. You don't have to bring out your stresses on children. But again, it's a societal thing, how people are brought up. Statistics show people who are abused might end up abusing. And you find it also in our society, in our political leaders who don't want to listen.
Yes.
It comes from the home. The family is the first political, it's the first political
party organization unit. Before we go to
how people are brought up by their dads who are militaristic, who didn't want to listen, who would pounce on anything, You're seeing them now. They are the leaders who don't want to listen to us because they picked it up from their homes. Tyrants whose dads were tyrants, whose So we have to break that chain. We have to break that chain of intolerance, of imposition. We have to allow people, and you start it from your homes and with our kids and our children, how we bring them up, how you deal with your wife, how you deal, because with my child also there's marriage. You see, I have my partner.
Yes.
Who is my girlfriend. I still call her, she's my wife, but I tell her, you know what?
You're
my girlfriend. Yeah. Because I love I love thinking about her. The title wife. Yeah, wife has
it's a relegating title.
It's a bit of a property kind of, wife.
It's ownership.
She's my wife. It's legal title.
Yes.
But I still call her, because I tell her you're my chick. And I want you to remain my chick.
That's very thoughtful of you, because the moment you stop seeing her as your girlfriend, you start thinking of getting a girlfriend.
Exactly. So I tell her, the way we met and you're my chick, because we had a child together, we went to the Wazes, now you're my wife.
But it's still my girlfriend.
Wife it's like a job. It's like a
title.
Description, a title. Yeah. So wife is supposed to do A, B, C, D, and that's why you find homes and relationships becoming boring.
Yes.
Atamka apike.
Roles.
No, roles. Exactly. You're just satisfying roles. You see, and that's why there's a difference also between father and dad.
And dad.
You see, there are so many fathers who are not dads, because a dad is a term of endearment.
Hands-on.
Yeah, and it's a term of endearment.
Yes.
You see, so but they are fathers, but they are not dads, because they don't have good relationships with their children.
Yes.
You see, so many men, and even now it's coming out, women.
Yes.
Children have.
Okay.
See, so I think that's what society also needs to know, that there are those.
Yes.
Roles. I like what you said, roles, but also form relationships, and good relationships are that.
Yes.
So being a father since 2017 and being somebody's, what do chicks, babe, right? Since 2014, has really changed my life in a nice and positive way.
Yes.
Makes you philosophize more, think about the future.
Yes.
Because you have responsibility, and even in a broader sense, I'm more into politics and changing. Say, for instance, for me, God gave me the grace to study law.
Yes.
So I say, that's what I know, and other things that I'm studying, So I use that knowledge to try and make society a better place for my son, for my chick, for my friends and their children, but more for children and humankind. So I think that's my response. That's the most I can do, you see, make life better. Because you wake up and you look, you hear a political decision was made, and it's going to be bad for your child in another 10 years. You have to fight that.
Yes,
how can I leave Kenya a worse place? I know there's a point where Kenya was better.
It was better, yeah.
And good. How can it be bad?
Yes.
So it's going to be worse for our kids. When you talk about debt,
yes,
our kids are going to pay a debt that they didn't make a decision about.
Exactly,
So how can we shut up and look at that happen? So those are some of the things that inspire, and especially when it's real to you, when you are a father, a dad, and somebody's partner, that the decisions you make are not just about you. They're about the immediate family, but again, everyone.
Something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Amazing. Your love for music, Bobby. We keep talking about music. We talk about albums all the time. We've been to concerts together.
Yeah.
So, what sparked that love for music, especially the reggae beat? We've been to concerts together.
Yeah. I think, again, that's what I was saying. The family, home is the first school. It's the first political, social, educational.
Yes.
Those 4 walls where a child grows up. It's very important. So I picked up my love for music because my parents loved music.
Exactly.
There was music in the
music
home,
everywhere. In the kitchen, in the bathroom.
I remember my parents going out when we were very young. Go out and leave us with our auntie. They've gone out, which I came to understand when I started going out. So music was made to be something good in the house. I remember my dad and my uncles getting together on Saturdays and Sundays, and having a beer in the house.
And there's music
playing music. Albums, it was Kina Franco and what, you know. But it was good music. I remember listening to music with my mom, you know, and my aunties. So some of these habits you pick them from the house, the home. It's a very, very so and even reggae, reggae, the first tape, which
you told me that,
which I still need to ask my dad about that.
Yes,
I came like the Bob Marley Kaya album. I have it.
Yes.
It was in my dad's collection. My late cousin, Professor Katama Mkangi, who fought for the second, was detained by Moi.
Incredible personality.
Spent the second longest period in the Nyayo House torture chamber, 74 days. He was a big reggae fan. In fact, we know now that, and we can say when they were being arrested, the secret papers that literature they used, he used to hide it in his guitar. He used to have a guitar in the house.
All right.
So when these special branch people went breaking into house, he later whispered to my cousin, go and look in the guitar. That's where the things are. He had reggae albums. But I found this reggae tape, like I was telling you. I never forgot it was white. And what I was doing is I was looking for my dad's tape. I was
okay.
So you dub over, because you'd think your parents' music is useless because now you want your own music. And we used to record over radio programs or albums, or your friend gives you a tape. So I was looking for a cassette. And so I would go and play my dad's tapes, and then this is boring old music. So I can record over it and put my stuff. But I found this tape and I played it, and it was Bob Marley. And I thought, because my dad wasn't the outright reggae, fan. I was wondering, what's this tape doing here? I almost recorded over it. But I didn't. I kept it. And I started listening to it. I think I was maybe in class 6, 7, 8 there. And we had listened to a bit of, I remember when we were kids, on the radios, was one of the most prominent songs, reggae songs, was Buffalo Soldier. That I think every kid knew. I think we didn't even know it's reggae. We just knew it's a
good record and we love it. And jamming to it.
We'd even, Buffalo, I remember saying, Buffalo na soda. So there are all those interactions with reggae, seeing pictures of Bob once in a while, maybe in a newspaper with the dreads, and you wonder. I even used to think, I told you this, I used to think Jamaica was in Africa. Because Bob was black. You get, and I used to know Bob is from Jamaica.
It's from Jamaica.
So Jamaica must be in Africa. But when I started interacting with an atlas, I would try and look for Jamaica in Africa. And I couldn't find it because the pictures of Bob and the Wailers and the reggae artists. Until now, later you come to learn there's the Caribbean. And, so I mean, it's a life journey. But I remember that's the first step that sparked my interest.
Your interest in reggae.
And the content, the social, hearing about
social justice, human rights.
Talking about things that happen with people. And I think I started asking myself, why is this guy singing like this? Because there was a lot of pop music, and pop was about,
having a good time.
Having a good time. Some artists who talk about social justice, but it wasn't very direct.
And deep.
Like reggae is.
Reggae music,
Then in high school, I listened to a lot of hip-hop. But again, what now we eventually came to call real hip-hop. My first...
NWA?
In fact, even before NWA, my first big reggae, hip-hop group was Public Enemy. The first tape I bought was Public Enemy.
You actually even bought a tape?
I bought a tape. and it's my dad who gave me the money. And when I was buying it, he asked me, why do you want... I bought a tape and a T-shirt. He asked me, why do you want to get a T-shirt written Public Enemy? Are you a Public Enemy? So
what are you planning?
Music group. But I'm happy that these are the groups that are still very socially conscious still today. Chuck D from Public Enemy. He's the go-to guy. Black Lives Matter, whatever. These are the guys who been talking about social
justice,
black
and human
consciousness, human rights, And so I'm happy that I picked this up as a 13-year-old. 14-year-old boy.
And to date,
And
you're
still
a huge
today,
fan.
I think these guys resonate well. They're the ones who gave me a lot of content around
social justice and human rights. Okay.
and also your identity.
Your identity.
As an African, as a black person, as a man.
Yes.
So, so reggae and hip hop gave me that.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of Franco
Yes.
because of, and what people now call Lingala, but rumba, that old rumba, because it was a music that was played in my house by my uncles and my dad. And then it's good, like I was saying, the lesson. They looked very happy. You see,
when listening to the music.
When listening to the music. Yes. So you really, if you put music and your kid sees you crying, I don't think they like the music.
Of course they
look so. And now also, when I can look into the music, you discover there was a lot of social content.
Yes.
It was in Lingala, but when you look, now you can go online
and check yourself. Yeah.
And it was a lot of social content about marriage, living well with your neighbors. So music is very important, I think.
Music is life.
Music is life.
It's life.
Yeah.
Who's your current favorite in the new generation of reggae music?
Wow, definitely. Oh, hip hop?
Reggae and hip hop.
Hip hop, very few.
Okay.
Very few.
J. Cole?
Yeah. Since hip hop went commercial, from late 90s into 2000s, when the PDDs and the Suge Knights,
Jay-Z,
these guys, I can say it, they killed hip hop.
All right.
But fortunately, the real hip hop is still there. It went underground, but it's still there. All these old artists, like I'm mentioning, Chuck D. The EPMDs, the Far Sides, the guys we liked. Wu-Tang Clan, Gigz, one of my favorites artists from the Wu-Tang Clan, is still recording, and he's actually teaching children. He's been in programs where he teaches children science, using hip hop.
It's more than music.
Yes, so all these guys are still recording, but not commercially, because the commercial aspect was taken over by.
The money came in.
It's good. But the cultural aspect and the meaning of the music was unfortunately lost.
Yes.
The money. You see, and that's why I think now we are asking ourselves sometimes, kwa nini vijana wanapotea? You see, but because they don't have cultural instruments to help them,
to guide them.
See, music was there to do that. But now, if I buy a record or I download a song and there isn't so much of
the content isn't so inspiring. Doesn't
but
inspire
there's also
confidence.
very good content done in a different way. Even here in Kenya.
Yes.
I think there's the what's the genre called? Hip hop. Why am I forgetting?
Kenyan.
Why is it disappearing from me?
Okay.
But the new
sound, the gangaton.
Yes. People criticize it, but I think it's because they don't understand the society and where these young people are coming from. But to me, it's very rich.
Okay.
It is, if you understand music.
Do you have a favorite artist from that generation, crop of artists? Gangaton?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really, but there are songs I listen. And at times I hear some people criticize the songs.
Yes.
But I think it's because they don't have an artistic mind
to
understand where
these kids are coming from.
Like the group Ethics.
Yes.
Ethic. I had people criticize, and I said, they can't even get why these kids call themselves ethic.
Yes.
And
the content is not ethical.
I think people can't connect, but it's rich music.
It's rich.
It is. Honestly, it's very good.
And they're very talented, these kids. They're talented, yeah.
So music is very important for you as a soundtrack of life, as a soundtrack of society. So you have to always, but there's also a lot of useless content.
Okay, yeah.
I have to admit this.
Reggae music, who's your favorite?
Right
current
now,
generation, what are you listening to?
Definitely your
Chronix.
friends.
My friend Chronix,
Chronix does it for me.
Yeah.
Kabaka Pyramid, Protege, Coffee, so these are new sounds which I think they're bringing back the music to line where the conscious using new beats, new production, but still very, very conscious.
But there has been a debate about the Chronics, the Protege, Kabaka Pyramid, moving away from the original reggae beat.
That has to change. I don't think it has moved away. So I mean, when you listen to Ziggy Marley, Ziggy Marley did an album. I forget the title, but when you listen to it, apart from picking Ziggy's voice, it's not a traditional reggae album.
It's not traditional reggae.
Yeah, but the content and his voice is
it's
so
rare.
It changes. I mean, reggae itself came from rocksteady and hip hop, ska,
ska.
So it evolved from different sounds. Then it became reggae, and then there's the broader ocean of reggae, and then it's tributaries.
So do you feel dancehall?
There's the roots and culture. There's roots reggae. So there are different genres.
Yes,
and the roots itself, like you're saying. The younger generation is also evolving it. I think what needs to be kept sacred is the cultural aspect of it, the truth to the content.
The content.
And what it is a tool for and the instrument for, social change. I think if that is held on to, that's what reggae is, because things change. Like I was saying, even reggae was something else before it was reggae.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even Bob Marley, if he was alive today, maybe he'd be doing the same sound.
Bob did ska. His first albums were rocksteady and ska. Before he was a reggae artist.
Yes, you're right.
Bob was not originally a reggae artist.
Rocksteady.
He was rocksteady artist. Peter Tosh. The Wailers were not an originally reggae artist. They evolved into reggae. Yeah.
So, right to identity. I was checking out a report by UNICEF, and they said 64% of kids are not registered in Kenya. 64% births are not registered.
Yeah.
And we're not giving kids identity.
Yeah.
And when you spoke about having that identity as an African and, as a man, as a woman, what do you feel like is the biggest stumbling block when it comes to realization of, giving identity to people, as kids and as Africans? Because we have a crisis about identity. 64%, this is according to UNICEF 2020 report, 64% undocumented kids. That means that's like half the population without identities, without names, without, So what do you feel is the biggest stumbling block to having an identity as an African kid?
I think the biggest child, because one, we have to identify the fact that it's the official documentation of the identity that is lacking, or where we are failing. But every kid has a home. Every kid has a culture. Every kid has a language. So we should come from that background, of understanding. There is no lost kid. There is no lost person. They're African, they're African, European, and they're human beings. See, that's they're human beings.
First, they're human beings.
They're human beings. They're life form. They're spiritual beings. They're so what is lacking is the official documentation of their identities. So why is that important? Because you have a kid, you can see the kid is an African.
They don't have a name, they don't have an identity.
The child was found in Kakamega, so most likely the child is from the Luya nation, So you know those aspects. The chief probably knows, anatoka kwa nyumba fulani, kijiji fulani. So we know those. But why documentation is important is because, again, we have become bureaucratic nations. So there is the aspect of accessing rights. If you're a citizen of a certain state. And so when you're not a citizen of that state, and the only way that can be captured is through records. That's why even us, when we become adults, you have to get kipande.
You get an ID, get a passport, get all these things.
Passport. It's for those reasons to be pigeonholed. You see. Which is a paradox, because it's happening at a time when we are also becoming international, it's called netizens, you know,
very global citizens,
cosmopolitan. People are traveling everywhere, and I think that's why we have an identity crisis as humanity, not only in Kenya.
In Africa,
the issues of immigration. You see the crisis America is having right now. It's an identity crisis.
Crisis, exactly.
It's been an immigrant oriented society.
Yes.
But now you find some people who want to nationalize it. Nationalize it in terms of saying America is white for whites.
It's for whites.
Or it's for blacks, or it's for Latinos, you see. So they're going through that. Those are the motions. Because the structure of the nation state, which came from Europe. And that's why you find in Europe, England is for people called the English. A tribe called the English. Let's call them tribes. They call us tribes, you know. Yeah. France is for the tribe called the French, you know. So eventually they came to settle, and that's what was, you know, transported to other parts of the world. And so it comes to a point where, because of immigration or migration, again, the face of all these countries also becomes questioned, because the English say, oh, you know, in 1955, you'd see only spots of black people or spots of brown people. Sahi wamekuwa wengi. So to whom does this country belong to, you know? So they also, it's an identity crisis all over the world. But coming back to Kenya, ours is more unique in the sense that the more we are becoming bureaucratic, document oriented, you have to be in a certain spreadsheet for you to access rights. But again, we're not efficient in it, you see. And that's why many children are unregistered, undocumented, because of the inefficiency of bureaucracy, inefficiency of government.
Structures and systems.
Corruption of government. So many of these children lack the lack of awareness of many of our parents and people in society, that you need to register your child so that your child can acquire or access education, certain health services.